Yo, sorry to interrupt, but I would just like to apologize for some shoddy audio we had. We had some filters selected that were supposed to help us out, but they wound up hurting us in the end. I did my best to fix it, but it's not perfect. I hope you enjoy. Dude, this
What's
week's
up?
episode for Less Than Useless got so fucked.
Why, what's up?
I pulled an OG unplugged. Apparently, Evan's mic was off the entire time. And
Yes.
I went to go edit it, and I texted him. I was like, bro, we can't release this. He's like, why? And I was like, your mic was literally off the entire time.
That's actually the best part. That's so nice.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? So
I think
yeah.
that's actually how God intended this to go.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys do the episode on?
I covered Terry Blair.
I don't
He's
know
a
who that
serial
is.
killer
Oh,
from Missouri.
Missouri. Good old Missouri.
Well, anyway, I think we should get this fucking thing started.
All right.
So welcome back to the Thought Void podcast. I am one of your hosts, Vance Miller, and
Hi. It's Eston again.
God fucking damn it. I
What?
feel like you would have it down by now, Eston.
I don't
I
know.
fed you the line and everything.
It's the prompter's kind of blurry. Okay, I gotta get new glasses. Is there any way we can like move my seat up so I can see it better or like blow up the font?
No, you're supposed to be down there to shine my shoes.
I can't I can't see the prompter though. Like that's the whole point, I thought.
Prompter. We'll get you an apple crate, buddy.
Okay, that works. Also, everyone say hi to my cat, Mr. Bingus. He's here.
More like Mr. Dingus, fucking idiot.
He is a fucking idiot sometimes, but I love him. This episode is going to be depressing. I'm just going to say that.
It is. We're talking about witches today, and it's fucked. A lot of people die.
Yeah.
Mostly women. It's tough. So today we're talking about the Salem witch trials. We have a few different cases here to talk about.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it's dark. It's sad. It's one of the worst times to be alive, I would say.
Crazy shit, dude.
Besides the plague. The Black Plague was really bad and considered literally the worst time to live, but
I enjoyed
this
the
is
plague.
close.
I mean, the plague seemed like a vibe. If you lived, it'd be a cool story.
I know, it was kind of like if like Rona got worse.
Like really bad and killed like what percent of the world?
Oh God, it was like there was, I mean, like 60% of certain populations and shit just got wiped out.
Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible? I mean,
It's
the Native
actually
Americans,
insane.
the Native Americans, pretty much died of like I think they called it like the Red Plague, which was like smallpox and
Yeah, the
shit.
smallpox and stuff.
It killed 90% of the natives.
I know this is derailing like hella, but like that's so mind blowing to me that just at any point a new disease that's like really bad could come out and just wipe out like half the population of the planet.
Yeah, dude, it could happen. It could happen tomorrow. There was a
Yeah,
case in Oregon actually. Some cat gave somebody fucking the plague.
yeah, it still happens like in I think I heard in like Madagascar, there's like a prison that's like super overrun that still has like cases of the Black Plague all the time.
I just want to go get like a whiff. You know what I mean? I just want to
I bet
smell
that
it
shit
for
smells
history's
so
sake.
good. I wonder if
Probably.
I wonder, okay, if you go to like prison and you like scrape off some like rub that's off the floor and put it under a microscope, if you would see like a whole fucking like AIDS, Ebola,
Yeah,
the
I
worst of the
wonder.
worst.
I wonder if we got that shit under a microscope and what we would see. I'm sure they've done it. They've done
If
it.
if this episode gets 100 listens, we'll fly to Madagascar and confess to a crime to end up in that prison and do a episode from the prison.
I'll say I murdered you and you can say you murdered me, but we'll just go in
Exactly.
on like different days.
We will confess to witchcraft.
Yeah. So, anywho, the back to the story here. We haven't even gotten into it. The creation of the witch doesn't even necessarily have an exact date in history it was created.
Mhm.
But one of the very first stories actually comes from the Bible, of all places.
The Lord Jesus.
Jesus Christ himself.
Jose.
It
Or
was written
Jesus.
Jesus. It was written between 700 and 900 BC in
The
Book
Bible?
1. Yeah. No, I mean this exact fucking
This
shit,
part of
okay?
the Bible.
This part of the Bible
Got it.
was written between 700 and 900 BC in Book 1, Samuel 28. There's a short story about the witch of Endor,
Yo,
which
that
sounds pretty metal.
that sounds pretty hardcore. Not gonna lie. I would not fuck with a witch of Endor. That sounds like some Lord of the Rings, like real deal shit, you know?
Yeah, dude, I imagine you just like walk through a valley and there's like a mountaintop and there's like a little witch's hut on top with like a giant pumpkin outside.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like you could see her hat from like 4 miles away. But yeah, that's the witch of Endor. Don't fuck with her. She'll eat
Like
you.
90-foot tall hat.
Could you imagine like this super frail old lady with a massive hat the size of like a full-grown tree or some shit, just like walking through the fucking woods?
Her neck's just ripped as fuck.
It's like super bulbous and like veiny and shit. It's like, yeah, I'm a witch.
It's like almost disturbing looking.
It's like her neck is like almost swallowing her head.
Oh
So
god,
it's
she's like
just kind of like,
poking out.
yeah, it's just like poking out. You're like, hey, you wanna come with me, my potion stand?
I love it so much. I guess we are actually going to take a bit from the Bible here.
Let's get religious.
We're getting religious. We are reading a bit of the Bible here on the podcast. Don't get used to it.
Don't
So,
get
so Saul disguised himself and put on other clothing and left, accompanied by 2 of his men. They came up to a woman at night and said, "Use your ritual pit to conjure up something for me, the one I tell you." Also, I don't understand how half the fucking Bible's written. I just read it, okay?
Use your ritual pit to conjure up something for me, the one I tell you. Do you think this sentence is like they always seem to talk in like a reverse?
Like fucking Yoda.
Yeah, well, it's probably because they were enlightened or whatever. But like use your ritual pit to conjure up for me the one I tell you. You shouldn't like I feel like it'd be easier to say like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you what to do and then use your pit to make it happen.
Use your big old witch's pit.
Use that pit that's so deep and big.
Show me that pit, witch.
Yeah, witch, you open up that pit for me now.
Show me your witchy pit.
I'm gonna take my broomstick and put it in your pit. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, so
This is the
first,
Bible we're talking about.
we gotta get our head in the game, Eston.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm here.
Verse 9 says, "But the woman said to him, 'Look, you are aware of what Saul has done. He has removed the mediums and magicians from the land. Why are you trapping me so you can put me to death?' But Saul swore an oath by the Lord." So he's basically promising, "Hey, I'm not going to kill you, but I know like other people have like wiped the rest of you out, but I need you to trust me here."
I need you to like lock the fuck in right now, lady, because
Lock in.
Lock in for me. I'm not gonna kill you.
I'm not gonna like burn you from the feet up. I'm not gonna like throw you in a lake.
I'm
and
not gonna
drown you.
disembowel you or whatever. I don't have the supplies for that right now. I'm literally walking on
I'm
my
not
by
in the
myself.
mood right now. I need a favor.
All right.
And he says, "As surely as the Lord lives, you will not incur guilt in this matter." The woman replied, "Who is it that I should bring up for you?" He said, "Bring up for me Samuel."
Whoa. This is interesting.
It is interesting. They're literally conjuring the dead.
Which is a sin. But if you do it in the name of the Lord. Hold on a second.
No. Okay, so I probably should have included this in the research, but later on in the Bible,
yeah,
it actually talks about how like anybody to do with witchcraft is like you're fucked.
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
actually
not
kind
good.
I kind of bring up some also stuff from the Bible as well that kind of touches on that. So
yeah, the Bible's not really actually about it. And
it's really not about it.
It's not about witchcraft, unfortunately.
It's not like hip to the times, I guess.
And then
like whatever.
Yeah. And then verse 12 says, "When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out loudly. The woman who said to Saul, 'Why have you deceived me? You are Saul.' The king said to her, 'Don't be afraid.' 'But what have you seen?' the woman replied to Saul. 'I have seen a divine being coming up from the ground.' He said to her, 'What about his appearance?' She said, 'An old man is coming up. He is wrapped in a robe.' So I think,
whoa,
is that Jesus? No.
Okay.
She conjured Jesus.
She just pulled Jesus out of her hole, is what you're saying.
She just pulled Jesus out of her witchy pit.
Okay, so I want to, before we go any further talking about these Bible verses, I've never actually read the Bible, so I'm just
Same.
speculating
I
and just
haven't
throwing
either.
shit out there. So if I get anything wrong or like anything I say is offensive,
I don't care.
I I don't know what I'm talking about, is what I'm
I
trying to say.
am I am not religious. All of this is because I Googled where did the legend of the witch begin.
So blame Google.
So blame Google.
I wonder if like, okay, so this is kind of like the first witch story, I guess, kind of. I wonder if in like older traditions, like in like, I don't know, like Africa, I know they have like different witch doctory hoodoo stuff. I wonder if they have stories of witches and stuff written
Oh,
down
I'm
somewhere.
sure they do. I'm sure they do. I mean, the Christians will try to claim absolutely everything they possibly can. So I'm
Mm.
sure they're just like, well, we thought of it first. There's no original ideas. Sorry to point that out.
Everyone is just copying everybody, all right?
It is. That's literally all it is.
Or- So, what do you think this means? Because I don't understand anything that's going on, except that
I
this
don't
Saul
fucking either.
guy is trying to convince this witch after he kills all the other ones to summon somebody, I'm assuming who is dead, in the name of the Lord. So it's not
Yeah.
a bad thing.
So
And then this dude in a robe shows up.
this dude in a robe showed up. Um, and that is Saul, I guess.
But isn't Saul the dude that
Samuel. Or
isn't Saul the dude? So Saul disguised himself and put on other clothes and let see the Saul dude is asking the witch to do the ritual, and then the woman saw Samuel. Who is Samuel?
I don't fucking know. Somebody in the Bible.
I'm gonna Google it.
Probably
So,
somebody dead who she brought back from the dead, I'm guessing.
Samuel in the Bible. Samuel is an important figure in the Bible who served as a priest and became the first prophet and last judge in Israel. So the name Samuel, I guess, translates to name of God or God has heard.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But
I don't know, bro, but that's cool.
basically, I just read it because this is like the first fucking written thing about witches, so I just
Hmm.
included it. I mean, I didn't mean this to be like so deep or problematic. I just thought it would be
Mm.
something good just to kind of toss in your ear, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a cool little rabbit hole that you could definitely go down.
Yeah, I do research. Anyway,
Yeah, I read.
so I see you have a story.
Yeah, okay. So I don't have like a whole timeline here of like a specific somebody.
Nice.
I have a couple like things that I mention about specific people, but then I wanted to kind of talk about like the legality of how this happened.
Yeah, the legal side of all of this is insane.
Yeah, because the Salem witch trials only lasted like a year. And like the fact that so many people were like tried and killed because of it, kind of a lot. And I wanted to talk about this website here. It's salem.lib.virginia.edu. If you go to it, it is pretty much every document you could ever want from the witch
Whoa, there's
trials.
like
It's got like,
court records and everything.
yeah, yeah. It's got that the diaries, it's got court records, it's got um all sorts of books, links and stuff. It's really cool.
That's dope.
Um, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
We'll include that in the description of this episode for you guys if you are interested to take a peek at it.
Definitely would, even if like you like just want to see it just cause it's just cool to see like old records,
Real
like
historic written in
real,
the time.
yeah. And like the when I was reading through it, the way they talk above my intelligence. But anyway, I wanted to mention Gallow Hill briefly, just for a brief second. It's what they called the place that the executions happened.
It's fucking sick.
I mean, it's pretty bad. That'd be cool, like album name or
Let's go to
like.
Gallow Hill.
So since the colony didn't have actual gallows to hang the people who were tried as witches, They just hung them from this tree up top a hill that inevitably became Gallow Hill so that the people of Salem were able to see the witches hung from the trees.
Nice.
Could
So
you
that was like
imagine?
their view every
Yeah,
time they woke up and made breakfast for their fucking family.
yeah, there's a note in one of the articles that I read that this lady could see them from her window.
Nice.
Could you imagine just like waking up one day and be like, oh, there's some bodies there.
There's just like some chick hanging from a tree. Her face is all like swollen and
Someone
half decomposed,
bread and
and
just like there's a bird eating out of one of her eyes. You're like, mm.
there's like leaking juice all over the grass.
A nice spring wind comes in and just blows all that decomposed smell right into your house. Mm.
Dude, actually though, oh,
Yeah, and like, could you imagine the like just take a minute and like picture like you're just like strolling down in the middle of like say the evening, it's kind of dusk, sun setting, it's kind of getting cold, and off in the distance, all you can see is like old houses and like a big tree with a bunch of people hanging off of it.
just like slowly swaying.
Yeah, like it. Oh, dude,
It'd
crazy
be it'd be a,
visual.
it'd be a cool photo op.
No cap though, that would be
A nice
such a
black and white
sick,
photo.
dude. Monochrome, 35 mil, dude.
Yep, it'd
Fire.
be sick.
I'd print that out. The courts, I wanted to know like how they tried people. Like how did they like determine if someone was actually a witch or if somebody was just like fucking about, right? And the courts relied on three kinds of evidence. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Are you sure? Because this next section is just whack.
Well, now you're making me question myself, but I'm down.
Are you okay?
I'm
You
good.
need a moment? This
No,
is a
let's
safe
go.
space.
Let's roll. Let's roll.
Okay, so the first is confession, if they confessed. Testimony of two eyewitnesses to the acts of witchcraft. So if more than one person basically saw you do the alleged witchcraft, and spectral evidence. We touched on this a little bit here in a second, but when the afflicted girls were having their fits, they would interact with an unseen assailant, which was an apparition of the witch tormenting them. And these girls were a handful of them throughout the town of Salem or the colony started having fits in the night, and then people started spreading rumors about the devil and witches, and that's how this all kind of started. And it basically was these two young girls named Betty Paris and Abigail Williams who started like these rumors that the devil was attacking them basically through these witches, and then they just started accusing there's tons of people of
Jesus
being
Christ. They're like, Rebecca's definitely a witch. You should probably kill her.
like, yeah, Samantha's being kind of a bitch today, and I
So
saw her.
She fucked my boyfriend.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna tell the court she's a witch and get her hung by my neighbor's house.
And Abigail's like, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's like, yeah, dude, that would be a really good idea. I just did that to my grandma, dude. Shit was hilarious.
Her ass is fucking dead now.
You want to go see her? You can hit her with a stick. She's still kind of alive. My grandma didn't buy me the fucking horse that I wanted for my birthday, so I had her hung up the street. If you want to go say hi,
And she won't die. She's just letting out this gnarly death rattle.
just like,
Yeah. Just like barely breathing.
just holding on like the neck fat kept it from breaking her neck, so she's just sitting there like,
Good thing she was obese.
good thing. This would be a great time for. That's what I would start doing.
I would just
No,
eat
you're-
a fuckload of shit.
I would just start eating the kids, honestly. If they're gonna accuse me of a witch, I'm gonna just resort to some crazy shit.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go full witch and just cook them like Hansel and Gretel.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna enslave that whole town. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna start burning shit. I'm gonna eat people, go crazy.
You know, I know it's like not fair for me to say because we're not alive in this time, but
I
I
am.
feel like I could totally like I would like play into it. And it
Oh
would
yeah.
I feel like it would just be so easy to not get killed. I don't know.
I don't know
You
either.
could just like not care about it and be like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm not going to my court hearing. What are you gonna
Well,
do? Pull up
Actually,
in a cop car?
what are you gonna do? Run me over? Shoot me?
You're
Your
gonna pull
guns
up in
take like
your wagon?
you pull up with your wagon with your muskets that take 4 hours to load.
Yeah, right. I'm just gonna
Like-
walk away from you guys.
I'm just gonna like dip out. And if like they're already okay, I'm not trying to say like if anyone's accusing you of horrible things, you should just lean into it and like do bad shit. But like if I were to time travel and go back and be accused of a witch, what if there's no courthouse, they can't hold and there's no judge, you know, who's gonna, enforce the law?
I
So
know, but honestly,
you know what I'm saying.
I feel like nowadays we're just so like controlled in a way that
Hmm.
this back then seems so free that like
Mm,
so like if we had the mindset that we have today but back then, we
hmm.
would see it as just like a fucking joke and like really lean
Hmm.
into it.
There was a
Don't give a
speaking of what you had said of like just deny like I'm not doing this. There was a case of a guy who so a lot of time witches and people who were and wizards, I guess you could call them, if they were tried and they lived, all their property was taken away for some reason, especially if they denied it.
if they
And
lived,
if they lived.
like if they got tried and like hung but didn't die during the hanging kind of deal, or
No, no. So like if you denied it and then it was like proven that you weren't a witch, your property was taken away.
you still lost your shit.
You still lost everything.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like a win-win, you know. Um, but there was this one guy, I can't remember his name, who just wouldn't go to court. So they eventually arrested and hung him, but his family, he got to keep all of his properties and pass it on to his kids and stuff just because he wouldn't show up. That only happened. That was one guy. He was like, "I'm not going,"
That'd be
and
me. I'd be like, I'm just
yeah,
not
I'm
gonna
not leaving.
go.
I'm just not going in. I'm sorry. Like that's just not.
Sorry guys, I'm not really feeling it today. I'm gonna have to call in sick.
He's like, "Yeah, guys, I'm just gonna have to say no to that, chief, because that shit's wrong as fuck." But anyway, I'm just gonna go hang myself. Save you guys the time.
You guys just really upset me, so I'm just gonna go do it myself.
You know, I was on the edge, and now this whole witch bullshit just sent me over. Okay, so good luck to you.
That'd be me, bro.
No, seriously.
Like,
Like,
man, fuck you
guys.
guys. I'll just do it myself.
Like especially back then, like your children die by like their fifth birthday. Like you're all starving. There's no running water.
Dude, literally,
You're
like
just kind of like, dude, I can't do this right now.
the fucking life expectancy is like
It's like,
40
yeah, and you're like 38 years
max.
old, and you're like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna call it. If that he would, I would pull like the ultimate like one more inconvenience. You know, like I feel like I'd have one more inconvenience away from just hanging myself.
I feel that now. If I get stuck in this fucking traffic around here one more fucking time,
I'm
I
pulling a
swear to
fucking
God,
Salem witch, dude.
I
I
will
am
make a
gonna
scene.
end it. I will make a scene. All right, all right, all right. Let's reel back in for a second.
We're bad at this.
We are really bad at this, but it's okay. So, according to this guy, Mark Padivia, Padva, how do you say that?
Podvada? Podvia?
Padvia. Anyway,
Pavia. Maybe the D is silent. Pavia?
Pavia. That makes sense. I
That
feel like
makes
that's
sense.
better.
Mark
Whether
Pavia.
and even if that's not his name, that's what I'm gonna call him. So good old Pavia here. He's a lawyer, or he was, and an author. And according to him, the court of Massachusetts adopted the following law in 1641, and that's kind of what laid the groundwork for a lot of these accusations to kind of actually have some kind of legal standing. And that law is the following: if any man or woman be a witch that is hath or so, what the fuck kind of word? Okay, hath or consulted with a familiar
Editing the
spirit.
doc as we're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. I was like, who the? It's like who wrote this?
What fucking asshole wrote this?
If any man or woman be a witch that is hath or consulted with a familiar spirit, they shall be put to death. And then it quotes the Bible.
Yes.
Do you know what familiar is, by the way?
Yeah, I know what a familiar is, of course.
Okay, I didn't know what that was until I watched Supernatural. So the Bible quote used in this law was, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Witches and wizards shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer."
God, don't you just love the literacy of the Bible? You
God
can't. I
damn,
can't. I can't read the
dude,
Bible.
it's so fucking hard. And like, I'm not a great reader,
I'm
you
not
know?
either, but this just makes it so much worse.
I feel like they're missing words in between
They
words.
are, bro. They're just combining things and making it a thing, and it's not.
It's just
It's because they were all high, dude. How do you think I feel when writing half of this bullshit? Okay.
like, but did anyone else, did you understand that? I
No,
didn't, but like, okay, cool.
no. I think we're all lost. I think the listeners are lost. They all
I think everyone
they shut
stopped
off the
listening.
podcast at this point.
Yeah.
They crashed their car on the freeway into a fucking wall.
I definitely just triggered like 15 people with autism right there.
Definitely.
I think basically it's just saying that like if there's a witch or somebody in that general area, you should stone them to death.
But you
And
should stone them to death with
with
stones.
stones only though.
Because what else are you going to stone them with? You know what I mean?
Like yeah, like I mean I couldn't think of anything else, which I really appreciate that they're specific here because I'm a fucking idiot, I guess.
I might have used a scone. No. Any whoosies. Fuck. I'm tired.
So remember the young girls that started the accusations and then which kind of spread into rumors because of
Yeah,
these fits?
Abigail and fucking what's her
Betty.
tits? Betty and
Betty.
Abigail. Nice, nice. Thanks,
Um,
Betty.
thanks, Betty. What a bitch. It became such a problem that the colony started a court specifically to handle witch trials. Okay, so you know how we operate in, or we should operate under the innocent until proven guilty thing here
Should.
in the States?
Yeah,
In that court, it was basically if you made it to trial, like if you were prosecuted and made it to trial, you were pretty much guilty right then.
that's so
Which,
annoying. Because like, what's the
which,
fucking point?
which, like, if you're supposed to go to court to see if you're guilty, and then you just pull up and they're like, "Hey, just because you're here means you're guilty." I don't know about you, but
The
that seems
fact
like
that you showed up tells me you're guilty as fuck, dude.
that sounds like a really good. I think we should imply that here.
Yeah, fuck it, dude. We should just like call somebody and then just like gaslight them. Be like, you showed up.
You showed
You're the
up.
one that's admitting guilt right now because you're
Yeah, dude,
here.
you're doing it to yourself.
You
We're
just
not.
get
We are not accusing
gaslit.
you. We're not accusing you of anything. You are the one who started this.
You
Said this
literally walked in my front doors.
and said that you were a witch. Okay, by walking in here.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Ooh.
Like really? I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. Okay.
Betty's over there in the corner,
Look at
plugging
Betty.
her nose.
Look at Betty. Betty's
Because
just
you're
like
witch pit.
Betty is just like in the corner, like just having like a fucking seizure, blaming witches.
Dude, that's how it was though. Like
That's
you would
actually
just have
how
a
it was.
seizure and they'd be like, "Oh my god,
Oh, it's a witch. It's a witch, isn't it?
Oh, don't worry about her. She's just witching out. You know what I mean? We'll hang her tomorrow.
We'll hang her tomorrow, but like, you're gonna want to check this out. This is
For
great.
now, here's a rock. Throw it at her.
But until then, Court said we could do whatever we want. So this rock is going right there in that witch pit. This is derailing so aggressive.
It is. It is. We got to get back to this.
Okay, so I found a list of things that the court considered evidence as someone for being a witch, which were, ready for this?
Yes.
Casual relationships.
What do you mean? Like a friendship?
That's just what it said. Court's casual relationships. So if you just out here like dogging it, or you're just out here having fun with your boys
Nice.
or your bitches, like witch.
What the fuck?
Like, oh, I saw fucking Samantha hanging out with her friends. Hang her.
At
They're
this
just like
point, everybody probably just has a backpack full of stones.
they're just like
That they just,
waiting, like
Yeah, they're just like waiting to see somebody walking together, and they're like, friendship, and they
Witch.
start fucking throwing shit.
I feel like at this point, I feel like I'm surprised the law isn't like if you throw a rock at somebody and it hurts, they're a witch. And it's
If they say ow, what the fuck are you doing? Witch.
witch. Um, Another piece of evidence was prior conflicts. So if
Cool.
you ever got in any kind of altercation or were angry with anyone, ever, you were a witch.
You can tell the Christians ran this fucking place. Honestly.
I I wonder who was at like the ship lead here, you know?
Hmm.
I wonder
Probably a little man named Jesus.
oh, he makes really good guacamole.
Dude,
Is
I
it,
could go for some guac.
oh, dude, some chips and queso right now.
I'm gonna grab another beer.
Next piece of evidence is bad acts by the accused.
So, like, if you get accused and you're like, no, fuck you, is that like a bad act?
I guess that's a bad. I mean, I feel like this is pretty generic. Like you could say anything. Like I feel like if the accused was like, "Yeah, they were mean to me," or "I didn't like the way they smelled,"
Her witch pit was really fucking offensive. That's a bad act.
that's a bad act. And if I accuse you, kind of fucked.
That's whack. So, first of all,
Hmm.
if you act poorly towards the person that is accusing you of being a witch,
Yep.
that makes you a witch.
Yeah,
And
and like
also, you showing up to the courthouse for a trial
makes
is
you a
you
witch.
admitting to being a witch. It's like, how does that even.
It's not even fair.
So, like, literally, as soon as somebody calls you a witch, you're fucked. Because you can't do anything. There's no takebacks.
There's nothing you can do because like if you go to court, you're already automatically guilty. If you are upset because someone calls you a witch, you're a witch. Like that's and then if you somehow miraculously are not guilty of being a witch in the eyes of the law, you get all of your land taken away.
Yo, at this point, if I was born in this time period, I just want to be shot in the back of the head execution style.
So violent.
Yeah, or just like push your thumb into my soft spot. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to take this one out.
That'd be my
Somebody
bad act.
that'd be
You just
you
like
know,
walk in on a fucking 1 year old slapping his soft spot. Come on, die, die.
come on. Dude, you take like a musket and just blow a golf ball size hole through like this orphan's head. Like, yeah, I'm not bringing a kid into this. That was so
It
fucked
would
up.
be golf ball size.
Yeah, it'd be huge. It would be like the whole kid's head. Just like
God damn it. It
that
would
visual
be
is
too.
crazy. That visual is just like a wooden cradle. You walk in
Oh,
and your husband
fuck.
just unloading. Like,
Your house is just like creaking as you're walking through it. You push open the door to your infant's bedroom. Everything's just like wood and like spider webs and cauldrons, I guess. I don't fucking know. I mean,
I don't know, that seems pretty witchy to me, bro.
seems pretty witchy to me.
Cauldron? You got a cauldron? You got a big metal pot?
Are you making stew in that thing or fucking potions?
Dude. I mean, if you kind of think about it, like if potions were just like different elixirs of things,
I'll tell you what, soup makes me happy. Might as
soup
well
is
be a
pretty
potion.
fire. I mean, I always feel good after eating a good thing of soup.
Unless it's that poopy soup.
Unless it's that poopy soup, then I'm just ecstatic.
Then I'm just mad.
Anyway, a next piece of evidence was possession of materials used in spells greater than average strength, which I feel like that ties into the soup thing.
Because soup makes you strong.
I kind of interpret this as like there were certain elixirs and stuff that people would make to like heal people. Like you can use herbs and stuff to, especially back then, people used herbs and stuff to make medicine.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
those were technically like potions and spells and shit.
yeah. What is that called?
Holistic medicine.
There you go. Look at you,
Yeah.
you beautiful boy. You.
Thank you. Thank you. I try. I try. I'm not gonna lie, a little side note, dude. So my girlfriend is doing Ayurveda right now. She's like in a school for it. It's an Indian holistic medicine. Dude, herbs are crazy. Like they help with like all sorts of shit. But and then they knew that back then. But if you had greater than the average strength, you were considered a witch, which I
Oh,
thought was
fuck yeah.
kind of crazy because it's like, say you had like a painkiller herb elixir, right? And then you discovered one that was stronger, and then you were like, "Hey guys, I have this." They're like, "Witch."
They're
Like, how
like,
does
whoa, I made a thing and I'm calling it the Zanny.
I'm calling it the Zanny, guys? If you eat a whole bar, you teleport till tomorrow.
These ones are called Green Hulks. They hook it you fucked up.
I painted a little astronaut guy with a hat here on this one. This one, dude, you got
I
that pain
call
in
it
your.
Astro Hippie.
If you eat this, that back pain, you'll have bigger things to worry about.
You
Okay,
won't feel anything.
anything.
You won't even know you're
you,
existing.
you won't even know that you're alive. How crazy is that? It's like death but without dying.
Ah, yes. That's how I'm trying to be. Let's become drug addicts.
Okay,
Sick.
so
We'll start tomorrow.
so basically, drug dealers are witches, guys.
Yeah, dude. Next time
That's
you
what.
see your drug dealer, just be like, "What up, witches?"
What up? Fucking dishing out the greater than average strength potions, my guy.
He's like, "Yeah, whatever the fuck. Just give me
It's
my
like,
money,
dude.
dude. What the hell?"
He's like, dude, maybe you should stop taking this stuff. I can see it's starting to get to you.
I'm just gonna walk into the dispensary and be like, "What up, witches?"
I have three more pieces or four more pieces of evidence.
Yeah, let's just fucking go through these.
Yeah. Um, the witch's mark also counted as evidence of witchcraft. Which if the accused was a female, a jury of women examined her body for witch marks, which were supposedly showed that a familiar had bitten or fed on them at some point.
What?
And I
Like
don't
a birthmark?
I guess.
That's fucked.
It's like, oh, you got a birthmark right here.
I
That's
can
fucked.
tell your cat has been suckling near your witch's pit, and honestly, that's fucked up in more than one way.
Oh, dude, you want to hear something really fucked up based on what you just said? I heard also during my research that in some cases they would look for a third nipple that was used to like feed their familiar or like affect people.
Call me a familia.
You know what I'm
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
You know what I mean, brother?
Hey.
Um, I don't know how legit that is. I just heard it, and I was like, "That I'm mentioning that, whether or not that's true."
I'm glad you did.
Thank you. There was the touching test, which is if the afflicted girls, the ones having the fits, if they became calm after touching the witch that supposedly gave them these fits, then that would prove that the person being accused was a witch.
Oh, cool. So fucking Betty's over there
Touching up
freaking the
on,
fuck out, and then
yeah.
Rebecca is on the stand, and then all of a sudden, Betty touches Rebecca, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so fucking
Oh, my
fine
seizure
now."
stopped. My epilepsy stopped. Right then.
God, this is
Bro, this
is
crazy.
all like such fucking like this is like tea, like having tea on somebody to the max because you could get them killed.
Yeah.
If you're spilling the tea, you're literally spilling fucking blood, my guy.
It's like your mom does like one thing. You're like, Mom, I will fucking call you a witch in public.
I swear to fucking God.
I swear to
I will
God.
have you hung and drugged through the streets if you make me clean my room.
If you ask me to do one more chore, I will have you brutally assaulted.
Don't make me say the W word.
I'll say it. And you know I will.
Whoa,
And
whoa,
I'll get away with it.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Wit, wit, wit.
Wit,
Guys, I think my
wit.
mom's a wit. A wit? A what? Oh, dude. Okay, so this one is probably just strap in for this. Courts could not base convictions on confessions obtained through torture unless the accused reaffirmed the confession afterwards. But if the accused recanted the confession, authorities would then torture the accused again to obtain the confession again.
So basically, they're just gonna fucking beat the fuck out of you until you say you're a witch.
Yep.
Nice. Or you'll die.
Or you
Before
die.
you even get to that point. So either
Exactly.
way, again, either way, you're fucked.
Yeah, because it's either like you either confess or you get tortured, confess, or you get tortured, don't confess, and then get tortured again.
And then just die from being tortured.
Yeah. Or confess and then get hung.
Right.
So really just a bright spot in history, guys.
Yeah.
And then the last on the list is if you could recite the Lord's Prayer, you were not a witch.
Call me a witch.
So I got a little bit more here, but I just really wanted to like sit on this point for a second. Like these are the crazy, like this actually happened
Yeah.
in history.
Yeah, this
All
shit
this-
is the real deal.
Like it's hard to imagine society kind of letting this happen. I mean, not really, I guess, because people are stupid, especially when they're uneducated, but
And just relying on religion because there was no like school.
yeah, like nobody had any access to literally any education whatsoever.
You know, I think what it was is I think these people were straight up just fucking bored.
Dude,
Because
The
like,
amount
what
of-
did you do?
what
Work
you-
and sleep?
and it's like I want to see someone get attacked. Like, you know what would have been it was probably too? It was like the lives back then probably sucked so bad that people had so much pent up annoyance and anger that they needed something to take it out on. So they were like, when people started talking about witches, they're like, yeah, I'm dogging this one. Like, and back then it's like everything was religion, you know?
Yeah, that's all it was. That's eat, sleep, pray. You know what I'm saying? That's what I live
Actually-
by, at least.
Amen, brother.
Amen. I'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm. What a holy. Okay, so I have some extra factoids here that I thought were just a little fun, little tidbit. So a lot of times, if you were accused of being a witch and sentenced to a trial and or being hung, you weren't like immediately brought into the courthouse or immediately hung or anything like that. You were usually, from what I gathered, you usually waited at least a week before anything happened.
You could, you know, they gave you something to look forward to.
Yeah, the adrenaline for that last week must have been crazy.
It'd be so shitty.
And they were kept in prisons, right? And I wanted to know what like the prison life was like back then. In the prison,
What was the vibe around the fucking jailhouse?
you know, like what kind of parties we having, you know?
You walk in, what's the move, boys?
What's up, guys? What gang am I joining? You're a witch? No? Well, this is boring.
You guys suck.
You guys are so shitty. You got arrested for something you didn't do?
You stole bread? Cool.
What?
I'm a
you're
fucking witch, dog.
It's like, I actually killed somebody with my powers, okay? And they caught me. So I'm gonna get out of this bitch. You have fun though.
Just evaporates away because
Just,
they're actually a
dissipates.
witch.
Yeah. So the prisons were dirt floored, lice ridden, dark, and dismal, and stank of shit and tobacco. And when people got locked up there, you had to pay for your stay and your shackles. You had a weekly fee
And the
that you-
shackles? You
and
have
the
to rent your shackles?
Yeah, you had to like pay a weekly fee for your room and a weekly rentals fee for your shackles. I mean, it sounds like a really good time.
This sounds like the Four Seasons.
I think it's better than that, dude. This is like a 6-star hotel for me. But like for like the point when you have to pay for shit, like you've been trialed, you've been beaten, you've been tortured, you've lost everything. You know, you have lice, you smell like shit, you have lost all dignity, and then they come around with like a little bag. You know, hey, pay up, come on, give me your 2 shillings.
Hey, man, I know you got some coins up in that witch's pit. Come on, spit them
Come
out.
on, I'll reach in there. Don't make me reach in there.
Don't make her reach up in there. I'm not trying to. But
I'm not trying to. Like, what happens if you didn't pay?
Then I guess you get to keep the shackles.
You get what?
I don't know. Steal them. Maybe
but
they'll
like-
just take them back. Maybe they'll just take. They're like, oh, I can't pay for these, and they're like, okay. They'll just take
All
them
right.
and send you on your way.
They're like, hey guys, they're not paying for the renter's fee. What do we do? It's like, oh well, we gotta terminate the lease, bro. Kick 'em.
Let them go.
Let them go.
evict 'em.
Go on. Yep. Yeah, get them back out on the streets, guys. Come on, do your job. So I found a whole website or section on that website that I mentioned earlier about important people, and I just wanted to bring up a couple just to kind of give you guys the vibes. Bridget Bishop was the first woman to be executed for, drumroll please, for being lusty.
Bridget was just horny.
Bridget was just
Okay.
out here trying to get some dick, and she was killed for it.
It's honestly funny that the name is Bridget.
I just,
Like that seems like such a modern like Valley Girl name.
it
I'm
does kind of.
Bridget.
I'm Bridget. Oh my God.
I love dick.
And I,
Like she literally got killed for liking sex.
and it's like crazy to think because there are people in the world named Bridget, probably Bridget Bishop now,
Literally, yeah, that's a common last
that
name.
acts the same way. Because I
Yeah.
read that she was considered to be like really independent and fun and like very feisty, and she was arrested for being lusty.
Watch, she just had like big boobs and a big butt. And they're like, gross, she's horny.
Ew.
Look how erect her chest is.
She had sex. Put her down.
I know those milkers have milk in them.
Look at the udders on this thing, dude. Oh God. That's so fucking gross. I'm so sorry. Okay, so George here, our boy George Burroughs,
Georgie.
was a Puritan minister. And long story short, he owed some dude some money and he couldn't pay it back ASAP. So then he left town and then was arrested 12 years later.
Jesus Christ.
Even after paying back the money, and he was considered to be the ringleader of the witches and a virtual priest of the devil, and then he was hung. Isn't that crazy?
What?
12 years went by, and then they were like, I'm fucking bored, dude. Let's hang that one dude that owed us money.
And he even paid it back.
After he paid it back.
Nice. I mean,
I feel like that's a real...
if they did it before he paid it back, I mean, I guess
I guess, like,
they'd
by...
be out money.
Yeah, like... Yeah, they probably were like, you know what, we're gonna wait for him to pay back. And then we're gonna hang him as a witch. And so there was this other clergyman named Cotton Mathers who became very interested in Georgie's here's case or his trial because George had a lot of unorthodox religious beliefs and practices, which also then just furthered people's beliefs that he was conspiring with the devil because he was doing it a little differently. And then Cotton Mathers was the only one to attend George's hanging. And then after he was hung, he just started to talk mad shit about him and encourage people to...
Now that he's dead, I'm just gonna talk shit.
Yeah, it's like, now that this dude's dead, I'm gonna get the whole town to just fucking hate this guy.
Let's just roast this guy's dead ass body.
Wow, look at him, dude. He's inflating like a balloon. What a bitch.
Look how
Like,
swollen he is.
dude, his eyeballs are coming out.
What a pussy.
For some reason, I feel like Count Mathers here had something like to do with George's death in a way of like, he felt guilty, so he tried to like validate it by getting other people to hate him or something.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Probably something like that. And then the last one's pretty grisly here. Sarah Goods. She was the first to be testified in court during the Salem witch trials, and she was not doing great.
She was a trailblazer.
Oh yeah. Her and her husband lived a life of begging and poverty. Like, they were really, really poor. And because she was so poor, obviously you can't take care of yourself. And people started calling her a witch because she was unsavory. So basically, like, yeah, I don't like looking at you, so I'm gonna call you a witch because you're poor.
That's so fucked.
And then she was arrested and hung, right?
Nice.
For witchcraft. And then her 6-year-old kid was also tried for witchcraft and hung. And then
shit.
And then her infant child in prison with her died. So,
dude, what? This shit was so unhinged.
Like, this is like, dude. Like, let's lock in for a second. This poor lady was just living off of pennies and nickels, right? Barely getting by.
Aren't we all, my friend?
Dude, for real. Like, we're basically good. It's goods here. and people are like, I don't like looking at you, and you're poor and ugly. So I'm gonna hang you and your kid, and then just have your infant kid die in prison.
That is very sweet of them to, I guess, like just send the other one on the way, just so they could like hang out in the afterlife.
Literally
But
hang out.
yeah, dude, like just swaying next to each other on Gallow Hill.
Like, yo, mom, I bet I can hold my breath longer than you can.
Let's see who dies first.
That, I mean, just like they're killing kids.
Yeah, they were and nobody was off limits really.
No, I'd be terrified.
I'd be a hermit. I would never tell anybody my name. I would
But like,
just stay home.
do you think like the mystery would be like,
Yes.
oh, there's this mysterious figure that really never comes out of his house?
Yep.
Probably
I
a
mean, it would
witch.
happen, but like I would just like I don't know. I would just live underground.
Or just leave Salem.
Literally, if you just left Salem, I feel like you'd be fine because like Salem was
Yeah.
just fucked.
Like just leave Salem, change your name, and then like you just pull up to the next colony over and be like, yo, what up? I'm fucking Bob.
Yeah, you don't even have a social security number.
People don't know, yeah, like grow out the beard and the hair, or just I mean, this is in Massachusetts. You have the whole United States, bro. Just go send it out in the West and just
You
figure it
have
out.
49 other places you could go.
Like, go anywhere else. Go back to England, you know? Like,
I would just roll up to Michigan, bro, live on the lake.
just live on the lake, build a nice little cabin, hunt fish for the rest of my life. Like,
Probably die during the winter.
probably die that next winter for some like really small cold that we probably all get every year and just kind of think nothing of it.
Or
My
you'd like get a
firstborn child
sliver
would
and
probably get
die.
like my firstborn kid would get like scarlet fever, die when it's like 7, and my wife would get like a sliver, like you said, and like how nature intended.
Yeah, just survival of the fittest, really.
Honestly, we'd probably just all die from dysentery.
Like the fucking Oregon Trail.
Yeah, like, dude, we should do an episode on the Oregon Trail.
I'm down. I'm honestly down.
I'd be really down. I don't really know a lot about it except that it's depressing.
And that's what this show is all about,
Oh.
baby.
Dude, I feel like, sorry to interrupt. Remember how last week's episode we made like the joke that like someone was listening to this baked?
Oh yeah.
If anyone listens to this episode like stoned, I feel like they're having like a panic right now. Like that same dude who had a schizophrenic breakdown in the last episode thinks everyone's coming after him for being a witch.
Yeah, right. He like somehow made it through last episode. He like calmed back down, took his meds, and now we're just restarting that fire.
I mean, it's his fault for doing it. I mean, listening.
Keeping him on his toes, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm 3 beers deep and I'm having fun.
I'm having a good time.
This is great.
This is so depressing, dude. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time.
To continue with our stories, I have a story about Gilles Corey.
He's a witch.
He,
Get him
he,
out.
he was accused as a witch, and he was like very few of men, I guess. One of the few men who got killed during this time period.
Good.
I know. We need less of them in this world, honestly. Starting with
Fuck
me
that
and
bitch.
you.
Starting with us.
Starting with us, we'll do it.
This episode of the Thought Void podcast, we are going to be ending. No.
We're gonna do a live stream.
The first live stream and the last.
But Gilles Corey was born
Well,
in
Gilles.
Northampton, England, around 1611.
Oh, he's a Brit, mate.
So he's from England, aye? It's where they always have like sniffling noses and fucked ass teeth.
It's always grey and rainy. Is
It's
this like the
sad.
same time like the Queen became in power?
I don't
One that just
fucking
died.
know. I researched witches, my guy, not the queen.
Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to snap. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Gilles was born around 1611, and we don't have his exact date of birth, but we do know the day he was baptized, which was August
Okay.
16th. And if you think about it, I mean, you're usually baptized. I mean, I was never baptized, but I
I'm
mean,
pretty bapped.
you're baptized as like a few months old, right?
I
Somewhere
have no
there.
idea.
I don't
I've-
fucking know.
Maybe he didn't grow up religious and then found Jesus later on.
He's actually like way older than history thinks.
He's like 70 in this story.
No, I mean he made it to his 80s by the end of this.
Oh wow. Good
Yeah.
for him. Back then.
So, yeah, it's fucking crazy. He was born to Gilles and Elizabeth Corey and spent his childhood in England, but would eventually move to the U.S. around 1640.
Right when things
So,
were getting crispy.
yup, right when the getting was good. So, when he was somewhere in his 30s, he arrived in Salem town and would reside just outside in Salem village to work as a farmer,
Mm,
which is the fucking epicenter of all this shit.
nice.
So it seems he moved to the U.S. to do some honest work, but he would soon find himself in trouble with the law. My boy Gilles, he had sticky fingers.
Old sticky fingers,
They call me sticky fingers.
They've called me sticky fingers.
He had quite a He had quite a few petty theft charges for stealing tobacco, food, knives, and other small items around the farm he worked at. He also had gotten in trouble for falling asleep while watching over the farm. Now, falling asleep while watching over the farm isn't a huge deal itself, but the weapon he had for protection on the farm was stolen from him as he was napping.
I have a thought.
And that thought,
He stole it from himself because he had the sticky fingers.
because he had sticky fingers.
I feel like he sounds like this.
His Adam's apple's like sticking out past his face.
It's like a double chin, but it's just his Adam's apple. I don't know where my gun is. I
And I
think
feel like-
someone stole it.
And I feel like all like people from England have like rosacea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They all have like rosy cheeks and like a snotty ass nose.
His nose and teeth are just like fucked, and he's got this massive Adam's apple.
Handsome guy, really. So even though Gilles had a bit of a criminal record, he wasn't a bum. He owned a fair amount of land and had married 3 times. So I guess his wife's liked a bit of a bad boy.
Or didn't, because they divorced him 3 times.
Yeah, right, honestly. So I think altogether he had 5 kids, 4 with his first wife, Margaret, and 1 with his second wife, Mary Bright. Eventually, Gilles would be charged with crimes greater than penny theft. In 1676, Gilles was brought to trial and almost charged with murder. Apparently, he had beaten one of his indentured servant farm workers, Jacob Goodale, so badly that he died from his wounds. So,
Whoa.
yeah, he,
He had a bit of a temper, didn't he?
he had a bit of a short temper.
Mm.
And the story goes that Gilles caught Jacob Goodale stealing apples from his brother-in-law's farm. So Gilles grabbed his stick from one of the apple trees and beat him real fucking bad.
Dude, imagine. Just this big ass English dude working on a farm for the last fucking 26 years and just starts reaming on you with a fucking.
You gonna take an apple for lunch, eh? Grabs a fucking log off of a tree and starts fucking breaking
Just-
your bones with it.
Oh, that's how they invented baseball, I think.
Baseball was invented when somebody hit somebody's head so hard it came off and somebody yelled, "Home run."
Oh my god, I've invented a game.
Oh my god, I have an idea. The Red Sox. So, after 10 days of Jacob's wounds not getting any better, Gilles figured he'd be a halfway decent fucking guy and let the poor dude get some medical attention, but it was
Let
too
him?
late. Yeah, honestly, he let him go to the doctor. So, shortly after seeing a doctor, Jacob died from his wounds, but Gilles wouldn't get a murder charge. Since the incident involved a servant, Gilles could not be charged for murder, but he was fined with using unreasonable force. So,
he beat someone with a law.
and he so happened to die. Big fucking deal.
Whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo. Ain't a bit of Mary Poppins world, in it? So a little while later, Gilles' neighbor, John fucking Proctor. I don't know if you remember this guy from history class, but John Proctor tried to blame Gilles for burning down his house. But one of John's sons eventually admitted to burning down his father's home. So It seems Gilles was a guy that you could just kind of like toss blame at, and anybody would be like, yeah, for sure. I mean, he killed somebody. But that wasn't the case for everything. And as you can see, Gilles wasn't a stranger and definitely seemed to have a few enemies, which was not good for him. Because if you had enemies in this time,
Mm-hmm. Which,
which,
John, I looked up John Proctor because I didn't know who you were talking about. Just for those who are curious, he was hung during the witch trials because his wife was tried and convicted as a witch.
yeah, so like, you know, in relation.
Well, he was also accused of being
Yes.
a witch.
Yeah. So as time went on, it seems Gilles kept his nose quite clean for the most part, but once he got older, he found himself in a real sticky situation. When Gilles and his new third wife, Martha Corey, were in their 80s, Martha would get accused and arrested for witchcraft on March 19th, 1692. Right in the fucking swing of the whole shit.
Yeah.
You'd assume that someone would stand by their wife, but Gilles actually believed his wife was a witch. That is, until he and a few others were also arrested a month later on April 18th for witchcraft. So at first he was like, yeah, get her. Martha's definitely a witch, dog. Get her off my back.
Yeah, she's annoying.
And then he was drug into the whole thing too. So Mary Warren, Abigail Hobbs, and Bridget Bishop were all rounded up with Gilles Corey and walked to the courthouse where they'd all be questioned. Immediately, Abigail Hobbs accused Gilles of being a wizard, but he clapped back and denied all accusations and would not plead guilty for the life of him.
And then beat her with a log.
And
Again.
then he found a log in the courtroom and fucking killed Abigail.
Just went to fucking town on this like 7-year-old. Just beat her to a fucking pulp, dude.
He was old, man. He was like 80.
Hey, he's been working on a farm his whole life.
True. He's a tough old bastard.
He's got leather hands and forearms the size of my thighs, dude.
So they threw him in prison until he was arraigned in September. So he was arrested like in what, fucking April, and then sat in prison until September.
April, May, June, July, August, September. 5 months?
Yeah, that's a long time to be in those kind of jails.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, think about like what we were talking about earlier with the conditions, dude.
Yeah, dog. How did he even live that long? How did he even pay for his shit?
Yeah. How do you pay rent? In jail.
So during his trial, Mercy Lewis released a statement on Gilles' wizardry saying this: I saw the apparition of Gilles Corey come and afflict me, urging me to write in his book. And so he continued most dreadfully to hurt me by times, beating me and almost breaking my back till the day of his examination, being the April 19th, 1692. And then also during the time of his examination, he did afflict and torture me most grievously, and also several times since urging me to be vehemently to write in his book, and I verily believed in my heart that Gilles Corey is a dreadful wizard, for since he had been in prison, he or his appearance has come and most grievously tormented me. So she's saying that he basically has like a clone of himself that has been tormenting her since he was arrested.
Kind of like that's like the spectral thing.
Yeah, he's like astral
projecting to torture this lady. So, why a book? That's what I'm hung up on. Like, why?
I don't know.
Did anyone not like go like, "Hey, bro, what book are you talking about?"
Yeah, can you show me this diary he was writing to you in? But I mean, back then they were so fucking trigger happy with this shit. They just wanted a show.
I feel like they just wanted violence.
They did. That's all they wanted. They just wanted to fuck some shit up. You know what I mean?
The Royal Crusades.
Yep, pretty much. Gilles, again, would not plead guilty to any of these accusations.
Yeah.
So, since they couldn't get him to talk, they'd force him to talk by the way of pressing. For those of you who don't know how pressing works, I'll have a little how-to for you in case you wanted to practice.
Yes.
So it goes, remanded to the prison from whence he came, and put into a low dark chamber, and there be laid on his back on the floor, naked, unless decency forbids, that there be placed upon his body as great a weight as he could bear, and more. This is really hard to read. That he hath no sustenance save only on the first day 3 morsels of the worst bread, and the second day 3 draughts of standing water. That should be alternately his daily diet till he died or till he answered. So if you didn't
Bruh.
understand any of that, I definitely
Dude.
didn't. He was basically put into a chamber naked, unless he couldn't because there's people watching or whatever the fuck. He was put in a chamber. He had weight placed upon him, and he had moldy ass bread and stagnant water, it sounds like, that was most likely filled with fucking dysentery. Yeah, like, so he's like eating bullshit, shitting his brains out from his poison water. And this basically just happened until he died or till he answered. On September 17th, Sheriff George Corwin took on the job to press some answers out from within Gilles. So,
They really
yeah,
crushed the answers out of him until he shit.
they're basically just gonna shit the answers out.
They're gonna juice him. They're
Gilles-
juicing this man.
They literally are juicing Gilles. Gilles
I
was
wonder-
huh?
I was gonna say, I was wondering, like, with this horrible diet that he's got going on, if, like, after so long, the guards are like, dude, I don't want to touch this fucking dude. This
Oh,
guy
yeah.
is like the walking epitome of pestilence. Like, this is disgusting.
Yeah, he's like just fucking blowing out his fucking diaper and shitting up his back. Yeah, it's pretty rough. So Gilles was laid on the cold floor, and a board was placed on the trunk of his body. Rocks were then stacked on the board in hopes he would literally break under pressure. After, yeah, I know, right? After 2 days of this torture, Sheriff Corwin asked Gilles 3 times if he was ready to confess. Gilles just looked up at the sheriff and said, "More weight." So the
What
sheriff,
a fucking G.
I know, what a fucking badass.
That's a man right there.
Uh-huh. So Sheriff Corwin did as told. After stacking more rocks, Sheriff Corwin would occasionally stand on top of the pile just to be a fucking dickhead. So he has all this weight on him, and then Sheriff would just step on the pile and be like, and just look down at his face and be like, "Are you ready?
I'm about to fucking juice you, bro. You ready for this?
If I give you one little hop, you're toast." During all of this, there were multiple witnesses, which were most likely town people, and they were there with Gilles and the sheriff to have a little more entertainment before dinner. So this was
Bruh.
kind of like watching the evening news.
Holy
if-
shit.
Yeah, these people had a wild sense of entertainment. So one of the witnesses, Robert Califf, said, quote, "In the pressing, Gilles Corey's tongue was pressed out of his mouth, and then the sheriff, with his cane, poked it back in." So Gilles was getting real close to popping at this point. Gilles was clearly starting to get crushed by all the stones, but his last words were not a confession nor denial. Before the last stone was set atop the pile, Gilles said one last thing: more weight.
What a fucking gangster, dude.
I know, he was not down for any of this, and I fuck with that so heavily, but
Dude,
also he killed a slave, so...
Yeah. I feel like he had, I kind of feel like, I'd like to think he had like a redemption arc at some point.
I would like to think the slave thing was hearsay, but it's probably not.
It probably definitely wasn't.
He's
but
probably a fucking asshole and deserved this, but what a fucking G.
what a dude, the will of this guy.
He was not he believed in himself, you know. He was not giving into this bullshit.
Nah, he was like standing, well, laying, but you know what I mean.
And with that quote, more weight, Gilles' body collapsed under the weight, forcing blood and guts from all of his orifices.
Bro just shat out his intestines
He puked him
right
out, too.
right before dinner.
Right before dinner, yeah. Dated Monday, September 19th, 1692, Samuel Sewall's journal stated, "About noon at Salem, Gilles Corey was pressed to death for standing mute. Much pains was used with him 2 days, one after another, by the court and Captain Gardner of Nantucket, who had been his acquaintance, but all in vain. After all was said and done, Gilles' wife, Martha, was also hanged for witchcraft just 3 days after her husband's death."
Do you think she knew that he was
Yes.
crushed?
Yes.
Or do you think she was in prison?
I think she knew for sure. I honestly wouldn't doubt if they were like next to each other and she had to watch, like listen.
She just
to it.
watched his eyeballs explode?
Literally.
Oh,
like,
listening to it would be so much worse.
Yeah, I don't doubt if she had listened to. I mean, but apparently Gilles was pretty quiet. She's like, "How you doing, Gilles?" His eyes are just on the floor. After seeing how gruesome and fucked up Gilles' trial was, the town folk were like, maybe Gilles wasn't a witch. And in 1710, the court absolved him of his crimes. Which is
fucking great.
Which is kind of fucked. His wife's crime wasn't forgiven, though. Not that it really matters, since they were both already dead.
Yeah, dude, like, yeah, I noticed that, like, they went through, like, the government system went through, like, a whole thing about, like, absolving a bunch of people of their crimes.
For, like, weed and shit.
Well, like,
nowadays.
Yeah. But, like, back then, absolved people of, like, their crimes and shit for, like, obviously not being a witch, but killed anyway. And, like, that's cool and all. But, like, motherfuckers being juiced.
Yeah, dude. He's already freshly squeezed. Like, he's gone.
Like,
that's like full pulp orange juice.
Full pulp? That shit, you can eat that shit with a spoon.
Homie's already on the shelves at the local Meijer. You know what I mean?
You know what they put in Spam?
I don't want to know.
Gilles. Gilles isn't Spam.
Gilles. Spam Gilles. Yeah.
You know what they did to witches back in the day? They put them in Spam cans, okay?
They compacted them into little slurry cubes and just put them in a can.
Put them in a can for travels. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
This whole thing is fucked.
This whole thing is fucked. And that's why we brought it to you guys. And we hope we bless you.
That was fun. Yeah. God, like, that whole time when I was thinking about, like, how horrible, like, the conditions were in the prisons, and then, like, what this one guy had to go through, all just because, like, if you tie that in with, like, how fucked you were just from the get-go, if you were even considered to be a witch, like, the rules and the laws that we were talking about, I'd be terrified.
Yeah, dude, you wouldn't even want to, like, have a friend because you don't even know who you could trust.
I wouldn't do anything. Like, you couldn't have friends, or you'd get milked or juiced.
Juiced. I would say juiced.
Yeah.
Being milked is arguably a good thing.
Arguably something that I want to happen. Like, I feel like unless you were... Well, you couldn't even be a clergyman and be fine because that minister was killed, too.
Yeah, nobody was safe. Nobody was safe at this point. Imagine if you just accused the judge of being a witch.
Dude, that would be nuts.
But then you'd probably just get killed by, like, the judge's people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be like, no, he's the witch by saying that I'm a witch.
The fact that he walked up in my courtroom and said that shit...
It means he was a
fucking... want to fucking kill him.
It's like, you know what? The fact that he was even in here to say that means he's a witch.
As soon as you step through, like, the salt line that's at the front door, like, threshold, you're fucked.
There's a sign on the court door that says if anyone enters, immediate witch.
Warning, if entered, you get shot.
The dude is just sitting there waiting, like, come on in.
I feel like it's the equivalent to, like, beware of dog signs that people have nowadays outside of their trailers.
Yeah. I just, like, the combination between how the law worked and how, like, fucked and backwards the system was and how intense the punishments were. Like, this is such a dark period in time.
I know, and we have advanced. I mean, the system is still completely fucked, but people aren't getting killed left and right for crazy shit.
People aren't being crushed to death before dinner. You know what I'm saying? just
Right.
because. We're not hanging people in the streets.
We're not live streaming fucking pressing videos, you know what I mean?
And like also a lot of this just started because there's these two girls who had probably had like some fucking neurological problem.
Goddamn Abigail and
And
what was the
Betty,
other one? Betty.
fucking
Fucking
fuck
Betty.
them, dude. I bet it was all Betty's fault. Let's be real. Nobody likes it. Betty, dude. You think when they died, they went up to like heaven? I was like, guys, what the fuck was that?
Look at me, Betty. Look in my fucking eyes. Does this look like somebody who's gonna forgive you? Sends her to hell.
It's like, do you know what you did? I just couldn't
Jesus.
sleep. It's like, yeah.
Jesus is like a mafia boss.
He's like, hey, what the hell was that?
You fuck with my family, you fuck with me.
Do you okay? I know a few people who kind of like they like say they're witches and shit.
Yeah, dude, me too.
Do you think like real witchcraft is like a thing or was? Like what's your thoughts on like this whole witchcraft thing?
So real witchcraft, as in like hexing and shit like that, I
Yeah.
don't necessarily believe it.
Mhm.
But I think that witchcraft could be considered just like herbal medicine science kind of deal.
Mhm.
And that they could just, just they didn't have the name, the correct understanding of these kind of medicines back in the day, and they just
Mhm.
called it witchcraft.
Yeah, I can see that because
So
like,
in that sense, yes.
because like so much of the everyday in society was kind of based on like really strict um religious practices, and like anything that kind of like deviated from that was no bueno.
Yeah, I mean they were all sheltered, really.
Yeah, and when you grow up with a religion that says like, if anyone does any differently, they're like, horrible beings, that's gonna kind of fuck with your brain.
Yep, exactly.
How
It's same shit.
I think I think for me, like I like to think that there's some like other shit going on, you know? Like, it's kind of how I I feel like maybe way back in the day, I like to think that there were I'm talking like way, way, way like biblical times, there was some kind of mystical, maybe ethereal shit going on that was like kind of darker, you know, that people could tap into maybe, or at least they
Yeah,
thought they could.
yeah. I mean, there's probably forces out there that are different than what we
Mhm.
are used to.
And it's like if you want to like take this, and this is just kind of like the conspiracy part of my brain kind of going off, but like the verse that we talked about in the beginning where he said, "Look, you are aware of Saul has done. He has removed the medians and the magicians from the land." Maybe like at one point, magicians and warlocks and witches and witchcraft and all that were like a big deal, and then like there was like a purge almost, so it's kind of like a lost art, and now it's just kind of like forgotten.
There was just like a fucking genocide of witchy
Which is
folk.
yeah, like anyone that kind of practiced, like we said, any like herbal to medicine to like more ethereal things, and maybe there
Literally
were
anything. Like
yeah,
you
like
didn't even have to be out there with a wand fucking turning people into toads, you know what I mean? Like you could
yeah,
just
like
be brewing up some fucking cough medicine. They're like, witch.
oh, you cured him, but this is different. I feel like that there's definitely some lost shit because of it, but yeah, I don't really know if I believe people turn people into frogs and shit though, like hex packs and stuff. I don't know,
All I know is I'm just trying to be a frog these days.
dude. I would love to be a frog.
No taxes.
No taxes, no real like,
Fuck.
dude, no real responsibility. Just go vibe out with the boys and just hang out.
Let's go ribbit around,
I feel like I'd be a cool frog. I'd
I'd
have
be,
cool colors.
I'd be pretty cool. I'd probably just
Hang, honestly.
boil in the sun until I dried up and turned into a little froggy french fry.
I feel like my development would be kind of stunted for some reason. I have this feeling that I'd be a tadpole for a little too long. But then I'd be like a really cool.
No, you'd be like one of those you'd be stuck between tadpole and frog. You would still have like a
Us.
weird
Your
tail,
little,
but
like,
you would
tail.
have legs. You'd have front legs and a tail.
So do you think I could swim faster? Because
You could swim faster, but you'd be kind of goofy on land. You know what I mean?
kind of derpy looking, be like a lizard with no spine.
Yeah, I'd
You
still
ever
be
see
friends
those
with you.
I appreciate that. You ever see those dogs that don't have like necks?
No, but I see the ones that have like no back legs and they have wheels. That's what I'd do for you.
Oh, well, that'd be sick.
I'd get some
Okay, I
nice rims
appreciate
on you.
Yeah, dude, pimp me up. Nice little idea. This is my disabled friend.
Gotta end this episode, brother.
We do.
But this was a great episode about witches, and
This
it was
was
a
cool.
lot of fun.
Really dark. I kind of liked the darkness in a way.
I
I know
do
it's kind
too.
of sad, but it's just interesting. It's just crazy to think that this is real.
Yeah, and if you're into that darkness, please listen to my other podcast, Less Than Useless, with our mutual friend Evan. That's always a fun listen. We talk about murder, a lot of just dark shit. So if you like that, go listen over there. If not, great. Leave us a good review.
Yes, and please share this. And if you're a real witch, come on the pod.
Yeah, we'll get witchy with it, you know what I mean? I would be down to get cursed if that proved things.
Oh, dude, I 100% believe in curses. 100%.
I'm
We should
trying
do
to-
an episode on curses.
We should do an episode on curses. Maybe after this next episode that we're going to do about the Clinton conspiracy theories.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's not. It's all Minecraft.
It's fake. None of it's real. We won't wind up dead after next week. It's fine.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. It's been a great episode.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with all of our bullshit. We love you guys, and we hope you enjoyed this witchy episode. Bye.